Hi baby angels, it's BB. Welcome to my channel if you're new, welcome back if you're not. I'm here today to do a VR response to Tarot with Ruby. She did a tag called Decks I Never Got. So I am here. I didn't do like a top-down view today because I want to show you screenshots here and just talk about the decks that I never got for a multitude of reasons. So this isn't necessarily like I hate all these decks. It might be I don't know which deck to buy, I don't know when to pull the trigger, etc. So let's go. I hope you enjoy it. The first deck is a set of decks, and I've done this a couple times in this list, and I have my notes in front of me, so if you see me look down, that's why. So the first one is the Star Child and the Moon Child. So really anything Danielle Noel. I know this is a wildly popular artist and her work is really celebrated. And I guess everything really on this list is something that is popular because, I mean, what's worth mentioning that you didn't get if not a lot of people got it? So I'll go through the reasons why I haven't gotten these decks. It really feels like the new boho, like the love and light, the new age for kind of millennials rather than Gen X. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit of Gen X, but I see a lot of this like aesthetic on Instagram, and honestly, it's just like not my thing. My boho aesthetic is dark, it's moody, it's more lush and regal and into like fairy tale and folklore. And then these decks are modern too, but my modern aesthetic is more rich and has more of a balance of masculinity with like the feminine. I feel like some of these tend to feel 70s too, and I'm much more of a 60s girl than a 70s girl. I know I just threw a lot of things at you. Like, it's boho, it's new age, it's modern, it's feminine, but it kind of is a mix of all those things, right? And so like everything it hits is a little bit off from what I'm into. It also feels very of the time it was made. It feels very 2010s. I know not all of the decks were made in the 2010s, but that's what it feels like to me. Okay, so decks I would pull instead of these Star Child, Moon Child, etc., etc. Lioness Oracle, because it's like cosmic and also new agey, but in just like a different way. Caitlin Madison, if I want to feel like vintage, I want to go like more rebellious. Sorry, I have like cat hair on my face. I want to go more rebellious, etc. And then lastly, the She-Wolf, which is kind of like the older rebel sister of the Danielle Noel decks, I think. I don't know. What do you think? Okay, so next on my list is the Brady Tarot. I find the art intense and displeasing. I do think it's a well done deck, and I think I could probably say that about a lot of these decks. It just doesn't speak to me in any way. I don't know. I really don't have more to say about it. I would pull the Anima Mundi or the Children of Litha instead of this deck. I know a lot of people, like, I remember when the craze happened and I was just like, I don't get it. And then I got it confused with the Hardy Tarot, which I kind of love and want, but it's not the Hardy Tarot, it's the Brady Tarot. The next set is the Everyday Witch and the Green Witch. I think they're so charming, and in theory, I love it, but not in practice. They're just not my personality. I might be more into it if they were like entirely period. Like, I would prefer more of a Victorian or a medieval lens. The Green Witch is just a big no. Like, certain parts of it are really beautiful, but the faces are so uncanny valley, and I've talked about this on my channel before. These faces are a big deal. I don't know. Another deck I never got is the Wildwood, and along with that, the Druidcraft. And the reason that I never got these decks is because I was really back and forth on if I should and which to get. I find the art very intriguing, and the Celtic background something that is very personal to me since I do have a lot of Celtic ancestry. I think that earthy decks aren't my go-to, and until recently I wasn't sure which I wanted. I think I've narrowed it down to the Wildwood over the Druidcraft, so eventually that will be in my collection and I will be able to explore. Another deck I never got was the Gentle Tarot. It's very sweet, however, the visual direction just isn't my style. I love the themes, but the colors and shapes aren't for me. The lack of outline isn't for me. Instead of this deck, I would probably pull the Pasta Tarot, which feels very gentle and caring, the Tarot of the Divine, or the Lover's Path. The next deck I never got is anything by Dame Darcy. I don't know, the price, there was like controversy for a minute. I don't even know if that ever got resolved, but the Queen Alice deck and the Mermaids deck are both really interesting to me and alluring, and I think that it's come down to the point where I need to just buy both of them and work with them and see what resonates with me and let go whichever doesn't. I don't know if that's both or one, or if I'll keep both, but I think that's like the next step for Dame Darcy for me. Another deck I never got was the Osho Zen. It breaks my heart that I can't resonate with this on any level. And it also breaks my heart that the majority of the art in this deck I hate, because the backs are incredible. And every time I've ever seen a video with this deck featured, I was always like, oh my God, what is that deck? Because the backs just like called to me. I wish that a deck was created where the fronts of them, the actual illustrations, were more in line with those backs. Decks I would pull if I wanted to dive into Eastern Asian philosophy and esotericism would be the Tao box. That's an oracle deck that I own, and the Visionary I Ching. Next on my list is the Dreams of Gaia. It has beautiful moments, but overall always felt kind of bizarre to me. The story and the symbology is just lost on me. It's like a fantasy that's removed from any sort of like world. Like, I don't know what world it's in. And I know like I'm into the idea of creating a new world, but I just don't think it's grounded in anything. Like, if I see a disembodied head and then a buffalo beneath it and then like all this like Mardi Gras mask type of like embellishments, I don't know what that's trying to tell me. You know what I mean? Like, hot take. I don't know. Decks I would pull instead of the Dreams of Gaia are the Blood Moon and the Love and Mystery Tarot, both very fantastical, beautiful decks, and I think within the same vein of the Dreams of Gaia. And I know that like the Dreams of Gaia is a very deep deck, and I don't mean to kind of oversimplify it in any way. It's just I guess I'm speaking more from a place about the art. It's just not my thing. The next group of decks on this list is the Paulina Fae. So Paulina has a lot of decks. The Paulina, I think the Spirit Song, the Joie de Vivre. I would say these decks are adjacent to my main style preferences, and I've flip-flopped on wanting a deck of hers. I haven't been sure which for the longest time, and I'm realizing maybe less like creatures is better for me. I don't know. I think I may have landed on the Paulina Tarot, but I'm not sure. And please let me know if you know my style. Like, I would love some direction in that way. Or maybe I just need to drop it altogether. The idea of getting a deck of hers. Okay, the next duo is the Smoke, Ash, and Ember and the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. These are beautiful decks. Again, earthy, so not usually my thing. It reminds me of elementary school in the best way. And also it's a little folky in a way that I'm not usually drawn to. But it's so beautiful, both of them. And they're even more beautiful when I'm looking at one card at a time. I can't really see myself doing a big spread with those decks, but one card is just really beautiful and you do want to sink into it, or at least that's how I feel. Again, this is another issue of me being on the fence over which one I should get. I don't know if there's a place for both of them in my collection. I love the idea of a dragon deck, and so far this is the one that I've seen that most, like, it feels closest to what I would envision my dragon deck to look like. It's not there, but it is the closest thing. And I don't know if that's like, that means I should give it a chance or if I should just wait for what is the thing. All of the animals in these decks feel so emotional, and that really resonates with me. I think this would be a good fit for not my tarot aesthetic. Okay, next up is the Herb Crafters Tarot. Again, another deck that's been on and off of my wish list for ages. It's back on. It's so well done, and my hesitation was that I don't know much about herbs, and so it's kind of out of my wheelhouse, but I can't deny my attraction to it. And it's highlighted in Tarot Tube so often that it just feels good. Like, I think I need it. Okay, almost done with the list. We have 2 more. The next one is the Light Seers Tarot. I never got the Light Seers, and I think we're surprising no one here. The art and lifestyles portrayed are very hippie, very Burning Man. They're just not relatable to me specifically. And it's definitely not akin with my spirituality. I think the thing about this deck is that people see themselves and their community within it, and I think that's great. I just don't. So I think decks that would reflect that are maybe the Dark Days Tarot or the Tarot of the Invisible Light, Tarot of Invisible Light. And the last deck on my list of decks I never got is the Good Tarot. The backs are beautiful, which you know is a thing for me, but the art doesn't move me. It reminds me of a fairy and fantasy aesthetic from the 90s, but not in the way I love, because you know that that's my thing and that should be a pull for me, right? But it feels like 90s mom, and not in the cool way. Not a cool mom. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. I also don't love the positive spin on all the cards. I know people have talked about that before. So you ask, what would get me into that mode? What is a feminine deck instead that I would like? Because I really do feel like it has strong feminine vibes. What is kind of a fantasy but based in reality deck? Because I kind of see that too. And then if I'm not liking the positive spin on all the cards, like, what is a raw emotional deck? And I have decks for all 3 of those concerns. 1, the Carla Teeds, 2, the Dreaming Way, and 3, the Abyssal. These are much more my speed than the Good Tarot. That's my grouping of decks I've never gotten. There are many more, but I thought those would be the most fun to talk about. So I hope you enjoyed. This is just a fun, tiny little video. It's pretty straightforward. Let me know what you think and what decks you love or don't love from this list. And thanks for being here. Thanks for being curious. Thanks for being my friend. My mom's coming. I gotta go.